It's me, Zenobia Darling. You're listening to #RockstarLife, the Coffee Break podcast. Let's go. Where the hell's my cold brew at?
Ooh, what's up, guys? It is me, Zenobia Darling. I am coming at you today with another espresso shot because I figured I would give you 2 espresso shots. I took 2 weeks off. I gave you guys a little teaser last week with my first initial reactions to Mayhem by Lady Gaga. So there's another little thing happening with this espresso shot. So keeping up with Bravo, I decided that I needed to talk about Denise Richards' new show. It is such a fucking train wreck, and I'm here for it. I'm so here for it. I was watching it the other day, and I was catching up on Beverly Hills because it was Sutton's fashion show, and I was like, which fucking Jennifer Tilly, who I fucking love. I'll get into her too, but like, I don't know. I watched the first 2 episodes, and I was like, what the hell is this? I fucking love Denise Richards. She's so trailer park with money. Like, she just is like, I don't give a fuck. Oh, I'm so excited. And I'm like, oh, this is good. And I normally don't like those Bravo shows. Like, I fucking hated Kim Zolciak's show. I don't like it when, like, Bravo works well when it's an ensemble reality show. When it's these solo shows, it doesn't do it for me. But Denise Richards' show, I was like, it's kind of boring, but there's a lot of bullshit happening with it that I was like, I'm just going to give you guys an espresso shot. So let's get into it. Let's get into Denise Richards and her wild things because I got some thoughts. I got a lot of thoughts with it. So before we get into it, I just want to talk about a little show that I watched by mistake last weekend that it was so fucking nuts that I gotta talk about it. So I was over a friend's house and we were just chit-chatting and one of my friends was like, you got to watch the show. It's called Naked Attraction. It's on HBO, and it's where people choose dates and they're completely naked. And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, no, it's completely naked. It's from the UK. It's completely unedited. You see dick, you see vagina, you see ass, you see it all. And they have to choose the people they want to date based on being naked and judging them. So it is, and I was like, what do you mean? I don't believe you. I don't believe you. And she was like, well, it kind of, it kind of grows on you. And I was like, what do you mean it grows on you? I was like, what? And she's like, no, it does. Like you get sucked in. And then next thing you know, you're watching all the seasons and you're like 12 episodes in. And I was like, let me see this. So I turned it on and I was like, already in the intro, I'm seeing all tits and ass and dick and vagina and all that stuff. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, what is this? What is this? So then the first episode happens and it's just like biracial girl with like an undercut and braids and she's there and it's these naked and she's choosing a man and that's the other thing I like about the show because they do lesbians, they do bi couples, they do men seeking men, women seeking women. Like there doesn't give a fuck. Like they choose whoever. And so this woman was choosing men and then it's like we have 5 naked guys and they're in like these like columns and they're in the studio and you have this host who like has like really good hair and I was like, what the fuck is this? And so it's like, all right, let's see your mates. And it pulls up and it goes to the waist and you see their waist down. You see their full dick, your balls. You see everything. And I was like, whoa. And it kind of took me a minute because I wasn't expecting this. And I was like, this is kind of interesting. But again, I'm an artist. I think the human body is beautiful. I cannot tell you how many art classes I've been in with nude models. I have several friends that do OnlyFans and that do porn. And it's like, it's one of those things I'm like, do you? Like, I'm cool with it. And it's, so like, it's not the nudity that like shocked me. I just was like, what the fuck is this? And so they choose based on like that. So, and they could go up and they're like, and the one dude, they walk up and they're like, I don't like his balls. And like the balls moving. And I was like, ooh. And then they have him turn around and like bend over and you see everything. And I was like, oh God, what is this? And then the girl eliminated you just on that. And then they walk out and it's kind of like ridiculous. And they go on into, they raise up and then you see them from the neck down. And then they choose another one and they go off, and then they choose other head and they're like, what in the hell? And then so they keep eliminating, they get down to 3, and then they talk, and then they eliminate it, and then when they get 2, they come out the thing, and then the person choosing has to go get naked and come back. And you're like, what in the hell? And so the first one, it's this biracial girl, and there's a guy in there. He has like his left egg has been amputated, so he has like a prosthetic. And then you see this like elephant tattoo where like his dick is the trunk, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And like, I mean, the girl, not to spoil it, but the girl ended up picking him, and you could see where he was an artist, and you could see where they dated, and you could see where they really had chemistry, and they're like really good. And I was like, this is crazy. And then I fucking Google the show. He has a very high success rate. And I was like, this is nuts. So Naked Attraction on HBO, go watch it. I was shocked. Don't watch it with your kids unless, but you choose to do that. But it's like, it was interesting. It was a good little, and I will say it's from the UK because they were speaking some British accents, and I was definitely like, afterwards I was like, oh, we get naked. Oh, I like the bum. And like, I gotta tell you also the other thing about some of these people. I mean, if you're gonna be on camera, I mean, go to the waxer. I mean, there was some. I mean, you saw full bush. Some of the guys had extremely hairy asses, and I was like, ooh. It was that part. I was like, ooh, some bushy vaginas. We'll say they had the fur bikini rocking. But, it was good. And it's not just like skinny people. Like it's all bodies. It's all it's a very inclusive show, but it's a wild one. So I definitely think you guys need to go watch it because it's some nutty shit. It is absolutely nutty. So with that out of the way, now that I talked about that, because I just had to get that out, let's get into Denise Richards and her wild things. So like I don't even know where to begin. So let's just get into like Denise Richards Beverly Hills. So when she came on Beverly Hills, I was so happy. So Denise Richards, I love Denise Richards. I truly do. I've always, with her, I've always said she is a generally good person. I remember when it was Brooke Mueller and Charlie Sheen. It was Christmas Day in Aspen, and they were married. And of course, they both were on fucking heroin. And I remember when they both got arrested and both went to rehab and got divorced and all that shit. And there was like a whole thing with it. And then you had him going through that like, I have tire blood. I'm winning. You had that bullshit happen, which that was a good 3 months. Remember, he went on tour and it was like, a shit show on a stage. It was beautiful. God, I miss those days. I really miss those days. Just absolutely unhinged pop culture. It's so amazing. And I remember Denise Richards took in Charlie and Brooke's kids, and like they stayed with them for a few months because she didn't want her kids to be without their siblings, and like she wanted to take care of them. And I remember saying like, that's a good person. Like Denise Richards, like it's Saint Denise Richards, because that takes a very special good person to do something like that, especially with like your ex-husband and with your they're not even like stepkids. Like they're just like, they're your daughter's half siblings. And it's like, that shows that's a good person. That shows a lot of good moral character. So I've always dug Denise Richards for that. Like I'm always just like, she's a good person. Like Anna Nicole Smith was, and she reminds me a lot of Anna Nicole Smith, which I'll get into, but like that Anna Nicole Smith show was fucking amazing. But I definitely was like, this is good. This is hitting well. I liked it. And So going into the show, I already didn't have high expectations because again, I don't like the Bravo shows like this. They just don't hit right. They're kind of like Nene's show was so fucking boring. Like, it needs to be an ensemble, and it needs to be, what is it? Tamara Judge's white trash OC wedding. Like I'm good with fucking Heather Dubrow and Heather McDonald, the comedian. I was like, I'm good. I mean, and Tamara is such white trash. I mean, she straight up is white trash. Denise Richards isn't really white trash. She just is like a trailer park. Like, and there's a lot of good people that live in trailer parks. So I'm just saying it's a culture. It's a culture. And giving my unique Baltimore-ness, there's definitely like a high art and a camp factor to it. So I enjoy that. I already wasn't really feeling it. And on Beverly Hills, I was super excited when she was there because I'm like, how is Denise Richards going to be a fucking housewife? I mean, I know she knows Lisa Rinna. I know she knows she knows all the Beverly Hills housewives. I knew she's in that world. She does have money. She lives an aspirational life. So I just kind of was like, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling Denise Richards on there. And that first season I really dug. And then I remember it was like the reunion where her and Camille got at it. And she's like, what the fuck's wrong with you, Camille? And I was like, and like Camille got off and stormed off and her fucking dress came off and she showed her tits and stuff. I was like, she's like, because the fucking Camille Grammer is just a nut job, which I love. But like, I was like, okay. And then that second season when the whole Brandi Glanville affair came out and I was like, and like they all ganged up on her. It was like the Fox Force 5. You had fucking Teddy Mellencamp, who like, side note on Teddy Mellencamp, like as much as I don't like Teddy, like I really wish her well on that brain cancer thing. That's some scary shit. And I know she's dealing with a lot of pain and trauma and scariness. And, I wish her all the positive healing vibes we can, because that's a tough one. And, as much as again, I've talked a lot of shit about Teddy Mellencamp, but I'm not anymore because I really feel for her. I really do. I mean, she like shave her head and everything. I'm like, good Lord. And I don't know. It's hard to watch. And like, I don't know. But like, I remember Teddy Mellencamp was like kind of spearheading it with Kyle. And then you had fucking Renna signing on to it. And then, and I just thought it was like, I just kind of thought it was bullshit. Cause it's like, who gives a fuck? Like, who gives a fuck if Denise wants to fuck Brandi and eat her pussy out? Like, who gives a fuck? I don't. Like, it's fucking Denise Richards. What do you expect? And then she had her husband, who I'll get into, who like, I mean, borderline conspiracy theorist, we will say, allegedly. But yeah, I just kind of was like, I kind of was, and Erica Jane was signing on to it. And I don't know. Like I didn't like the way she was treated, and I could see why she left the show, but she had a contract. And I think Denise Richards and her Wild Thing is part of that contract too, of like, hey, you're still going to make content. You're still going to make a show. So I watched it and it came on after this week's episode. And I sat there and I was like, she comes out there and like, starts right off the gate with her and Lola, the daughter with like the chromosomal disorder. And they're trying to, and she wants to get a service dog, and she fucking adopts like 3 golden retrievers. And I was like, and she's like, oh, whatever, they're pissing shit ever. I don't care. Like, I'm so excited. And I was like, are you thinking this out, Denise? Are you thinking out getting 3 fucking golden retrievers? Like, and then she's like, and I just have like I have 3 townhouses in a row. One's the house and one's the studio, one's the office, and one's for me and Aaron to fuck in with his big dick. And I was like, and I started laughing because I'm like, oh, Denise is here from the trailer park. And then I sat there, like, it was giving me flashbacks to Anna Nicole Smith's E! Show, which, side note on that, if you ever go back and watch the Anna Nicole Smith show from like the early 2000s, it was back in like the Wild West of reality. It was, remember back then it was like you had the Osbournes, you had Nick and Jessica Newlyweds, which that's been popping up my Instagram feed, which that was great. I fucking love Newlyweds. Oh my God. Is it chicken or is it fish? And it's just like Jessica Simpson being just like a dumbass. I'm like, God. And Nick just being so fucking over her. That's such a good show. And then you had that. You had Anna Nicole Smith's show. And I love Anna Nicole Smith. Like, she did it right. Married a billionaire and just became a Playboy playmate, looking gorgeous, and loved her drugs, allegedly, loved her trim spa. I loved it. It just would show up so fucked up to things. And just that whole thing was a fever dream. I mean, Anna Nicole Smith, I was rewatching it. I mean, their Christmas episode I watch every year because it is such a train wreck. And then you have cousin Shelly, the meth addict, straight from the Texas meth, hole that she came out of. And there, and you had like Margaret Cho's there back when she was like an active drug addict and alcoholic, and so she's fucked up, and Kathy Griffin makes an appearance with Andy Dick, and it's like, it's such a shit show. It just is. And then God, I was watching it, and then you had that shady lawyer she was with, who like, and they get into like a shouting match at a restaurant, and Nicole was like, how could you say that? You know what I did? I took a big shit. And it's like, just, and then she's like, Cammy, like, just so fucked. I fucking love Anna Nicole. I do, but it was giving me Anna Nicole Smith vibes. And like, Anna Nicole Smith is like Denise Richards because she's like generally a good person. Anna Nicole Smith, that woman is an angel. Like, she generally is a good person. And, you know, and Denise Richards is the same way. Just they're a little trailer park, you know, they're trailer park with money. And I appreciate every minute of it. So her getting the damn dogs, which you're just like, what the hell ever. And then I was like, I'm waiting for it. I'm like, how many times is she going to mention Aaron's big dick? How many times? Didn't happen really on the first episode. It didn't, but we see Aaron there. And you can tell he's being very guarded on camera. So then they go and she's like, I'm going to have a cookout. And, you know, I live in Malibu and there's so many fucking rules. And, you know, so her and Camille go and it's just like, and the whole time I'm sitting there because they're like going to you can't have reusable, you can't have plastic straws. You can't have this. You can't have that. And I'm just like, can we just have Denise Richards going to fucking Walmart in like the Valley and just being that trailer trash at Walmart? Like, can we just have that with fucking Camille? And like Camille, it wasn't Housewives Camille. It was like a chill Camille, which I was like, where the fuck is this chick at? Like on Beverly Hills? Because it really wasn't there that much. And also I'm sitting back and I'm like, Camille and Denise definitely had beef last time, like when they were on Beverly Hills. So I'm like, they're friends. That's interesting to me. And so they're going through and like, you know, you get to meet Denise's daughters and they're such LA people. I mean, one is like doing OnlyFans and going to raves and shit. The other one's a fucking born again Christian and a hostess. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm just like, you gotta be like, what? And, you know, I do know that there is this weird subset in LA where it is like, you know, these like born again devout Christians. And it's like, you know, and I'm not a Christian. I mean, I've said this before. I'm a paranormal investigator. I'm a witch. Like I definitely have a different form of spirituality and higher power. And, you know, hey, no judgment. I'm friends with a lot of good Christians and like true Christians who are non-judgmental, but like, I don't know. They definitely were not that type. So it just, I'm just like, this is fucking weird. Like, this is just fucking weird. And Aaron's just a fucking himbo. He just is a himbo. Like, and I could tell he was being very guarded, very much like watching the camera. And they do a cookout, and we get to meet some of the like the ancillary people that are going to be the makeup of the show. So you have the two daughters with Charlie Sheen. You know, you have Aaron. You have the cousin who's a recovering drug addict with like a bunch of face tattoos. And I was like, oh god. And then you get a fucking appearance by Brooke Mueller, who I was like, oh. And then side note on Brooke Mueller. So I know the best reality shows are these like one season wonder reality shows that are so fucking dark that they can never come back. One of them was like a Paris Hilton, one of her mini shows, and Brooke Mueller was there, and like her and Kathy Hilton are trying to like take Brooke Mueller, who's clearly on heroin, check her in a rehab. So the whole time I'm thinking that with Brooke Mueller, you can tell Brooke Mueller, like she's sober, but I'm just like, okay, she's showing up. So they go to the cookout. It's just a shit show. You got the fucking dogs running around. Because she has 3 golden retrievers, and the other golden retriever belongs to Sammy, the oldest daughter, who does the OnlyFans and goes to raves. And you see there, and then you get the main conflict, because apparently the 2 daughters are fighting. They're fighting over a man, and then the recovering addict cousin with the face tattoos is the one who is trying to be peacemaker. And then you see Denise just like, I don't give a fuck, and they start fighting. She's like, don't call your sister dude. Oh, squirrel. I love squirrels. I feed squirrels. And I was like, Denise, what? And like, the thing about Denise I love is like, you know, definitely when she was on Beverly Hills, made that appearance in the jacket that she wore upside down, and Dorit tried to call her out on it. Like, Denise definitely likes some booze. She definitely likes some weed. She definitely likes some Xanax and some opioids. I mean, not opioids. She definitely likes some Xanax, allegedly. And like, I was feeling some of that. And I also think Denise is just a kooky person. So I was like, I don't know. It's just like, or that first episode, I mean, it was only 22 minutes. And I was like, okay, like this is going to be, you know, it's definitely not hitting like a Bravo show, but it does have that aspirational one. And then I could see it. And the whole time, they're trolling the fuck out of Denise. That made me so fucking happy. It was just how much how much they trolled her. I mean, like a good Bravo show has that like Bravo wink where you can see where production's in on the joke about the characters and they're like winking at the audience, like, hey, pick this up, pick this up. They did it right out of the gate with Denise Richards. And like also Denise is like breaking the fourth wall. She's like, we're shooting a show. We're shooting a show. That's why we're doing a show. And I'm like, Denise, you're just being nuts. I don't know. It's great. All right, guys, I've been talking for 20 minutes. I'm going to put the ad break in here. I'll be right back. All right, ad break. I gotta pay for all this damn coffee I'm drinking and tea I'm spilling. What's up, art lovers? It's me, Zenobia Darling. Did you know I'm more than just a drag rock star? I'm also a very accomplished painter, photographer, and you can check it all out on ZenobiaDarlingCreative.com. Sponsored by the Harford County Cultural Arts Board, my blog, #RockstarLife, the arts blog. It explores all my creativity right when it crashes into local culture. Explore my neo-expressionistic fine art, my editorialized goth photography. And this is the best part. You can buy my original paintings and you can spruce up your boring-ass walls because every wall needs some glittering Zenobia Darling on them. So go check out Zenobia Darling Creative. The link is in the episode description. Ooh, what's up, Glamazons? It's Zenobia Darling. And you know my rock stardness doesn't just happen, right? It's crafted to perfection at Odyssey Salon and Day Spa in Aberdeen. Let me spill my secret. Abby, my badass stylist, is the mastermind behind my iconic glittering blonde mohawk. Whether you want to spike it up, smooth it out, dye it a killer shade, or just add that extra edge to your hair, the crew at Odyssey have the magic to make you feel like the superstar you truly are. And it's not just about hair. They keep my nails sharp, my skin polished, and every visit is an absolute blast. And here's the best part, my darlings. Odyssey isn't just about looking fierce. It is a safe space where us LGBT folks can feel right at home, shining as our truest selves. So if you're ready to live your own #rockstar life and embrace your creative spirit, get yourself to Odyssey Salon and Day Spa in Aberdeen. Tell them Zenobia sent you and show the world how fabulous us rock stars look. And you never know, you might run into yours truly. The link to book your visit to unlock your fabulosity is in the episode description. Hey there, ghost-loving rebels. It's Zenobia Darling, your paranormal punk rock queen. We premiered my newest art film, Ethereal Anarchy, Zenobia Darling's Haunted Revolution, on November 1st with my opening reception of my immersive art exhibition, The Paranormal Realm Beyond the Lore. Let me tell you, Part 1 of this film captured one of the most profound paranormal experiences I've ever had, and it was met with roaring applause and accolades. And yes, we filmed it in true punk rock fashion to bring you even more content. But Huns, the revolution is just getting started, and we need you to bring part 2 to life. We have so much more content from part 1 that we want to include, plus we're actively filming for part 2. So we're pushing paranormal storytelling to the edge in true aspirational punk rock fashion. Your support fuels every haunting moment of this journey. From ghost hunting gear to fair crew pay, every dollar you contribute keeps things spooky and queer just the way it should be. Join the Haunted Revolution. You can find the link to our GoFundMe in the episode description and help us raise the dead and the funds. All right, and we're back. Let's get into the second episode of Denise Richards and Her Wild Thing, because that was where it really started getting good, and I was like, oh, okay. Like the first episode definitely got my feet wet. By this time, I was fully swimming in the water of Denise Richards and Her Wild Things, because I was like, it's just so fucking nuts. Like, I just can't get over the fucking trailer park. So on this episode, this is where we really see. So it starts out with like her and Aaron working out. And of course, that's where we get the, you got a big dick, Aaron. I love your big dick. And then famously Beverly Hills, like Erica Jane, who like is around drag queens and says cunt all the time. And is, I mean, she's around gay men and it pretty much assumed the personality of a very flamboyant drag queen. And it's like, you know, and so she's out there, I got a big dick. I love your dick, Aaron. And we're shooting a show. And they're like working out and being nuts. And then you could tell Aaron, and that's where we really see Aaron kind of open up. And he does not want to be a part of it. You could tell he's just there. He's like, whatever. Denise is getting a paycheck. I'll show up and work out. But this was also when like the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills shade was being thrown, because you could tell Aaron flat out was like, I cut these people out. I don't want anything to do with it. And he was like, I exorcise these people out of my life. So then I was also like, wait a minute, is Aaron also a born again Christian? I could see that happening. I could see him also having an effect on the daughters. I definitely could, because the one daughter, that's also where we really see like the Jesus freak come out of the youngest daughter, or not the special needs one, but the other one. And I was like, oh God. And also like with Aaron, like I talked about this a little bit before, but like he definitely is very much like he very leans on a conspiracy. I've heard some things through like the Bravo gossip accounts and like through some of the Bravo podcasters that like there is some like shadiness with him. And I could see him being like that Joe Rogan kind of like, I don't think he's MAGA, but I could see like some MAGA conspiracy theory coming out of him. And I know he's big about like the 5G and all that shit and like, you know, big pharma and all that. And which like, you know, it's sadly kind of accurate, especially given the state of the world, which I mean, if you want to get into, go back and listen to the other Espresso Shot release at the same time with this about the Real Housewives of the Oval Office, because it's fucking ridiculous. And you know, so it's just like, he's like, I've exercised these people out of my life. And then, you know, so they go on and then it goes in, and then the fucking daughters, you start seeing the daughter, the one daughter, the Jesus daughter, she wakes up and she's like, God told me that I need to go to the beach and it's fucking gloomy out. And I'm like, God's not waking you up telling you to go to the fucking beach. It's like, you live in fucking Malibu, like one of the most gorgeous places of the country. And it's like, you're going to sit there and be like, of course, if I lived in Malibu, I would go to the beach every fucking day. Like it's, you know, you just do. And it's like, yeah, you have June gloom. It's like, you know, in LA, like live on the fucking East Coast where like, you know, it isn't sunny and nice weather all the time. You know, there's a lot of days where you can't go. I mean, you can't go to the fucking beach. So I'm like, boo hoo, bitch. You live in LA. Like, you know, you have a cloudy day or like, you know, and I'm pretty sure this was shot like May, June, July. So it's like, you're also dealing with June gloom. So I'm like, wait till like 1 or 2 p.m. where, you know, the fog burns out and it's sunny and nice. So it's like, you know, shut the fuck up and God's not telling you shit. And then we really get to see how much of a Jesus freak she is. And it's like, I don't know. It's just weird. And then you see like the comparisons between her and Sammy, and then you get into it. They're fighting over a guy. I don't even fully know what the fuck. Like what the fuck's happening, what the feud is. It's apparently like the one daughter dated a guy who like is best friends with the older sister. Like there's some weird thing happening and they're just like fucking fighting, and Denise is fucking over it. Like you can tell she's just like, I don't give a fuck. Like these people they're my daughters or you know, they're Charlie Sheen's kids. So like, I don't know. And then, and then of course you see more squirrel stuff. And then the best thing about this fucking episode, which just cracked me up with her thirsty fucking ass, Tori Spelling makes an appearance. And I was just like, you know, and she shows up because she has a lunch with Denise Richards, and you could tell Denise, you could tell she's like generally friends with Tori. But you could tell Tori's just like, oh, I'm on camera. Oh, I'm going to be on Bravo. That's good real estate. I need to be it. Because like famously, we all know this. Tori Spelling has been vying to be on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills since it started. And Andy Cohen is like, oh, fuck no. So what does Tori do? Pimp out her husband, her ex-husband, and her family constantly on like these one season shows. You know, it's storytelling or it's story time or like Notorious. And it's like, you know, and then she's like crying about bullshit and dragging it out. I remember Wendy Williams, love that woman, would always troll her and be like, we don't care. It's boring, Tori. Stop. You're thirsty. You know, so, you know, it's just like, so they show up and Tori's just like, you can tell she's like on, she's happy. We get her there and it's like, you know, they have to talk about, so Tori brings up the OnlyFans because famously, this is the other thing with the daughters. The oldest daughter does OnlyFans because, you know, Erica Jane was like, so who makes more on OnlyFans? You or Sammy? Because after Sammy got on OnlyFans, Denise fucking doing it. And Denise is like showing her tits on it and the daughter is too. And it's kind of like, what do you expect? Like, you know, like, it is what it is. And they're both hot. So like, who gives a fuck? Who really gives a fuck? And so Tori's talking about that, and Denise is like, well, Tori, you should get OnlyFans too. I make a couple million a year out of it. I love it. And you know, and at this point, I could see Tori Spelling. She's so fucking thirsty. I can see her doing some like Teen Mom shit. Like, what's that bitch from Teen Mom, the real nasty one who like will shit on camera and like fart in a jar and send it to people? I can see her doing that bullshit. You know, because also she got kids. And she's like, you know, and of course now she got a podcast. So, you know, she got mouths to feed, and she left that husband, that Team McDermott, who like, sign in on that. You got with Dean having an affair So, like, I don't want to fucking hear it, Tori. Like, how you get a guy is how it's probably going to end. And he did cheat on you. And, like, you know, so it's like, boo-hoo. And then you fucking drugged it out on every reality show that would, it was like WeTV, whatever, like, you know, it's not even like Kathy Griffin was D-list. This is like fucking like Z-list. Like, it's those awful, like, off-channel, it's just so fucking thirsty and ridiculous. And I don't even know. So then, of course, Tori's like, "Oh my God, Denise, they're gonna have to come on my podcast." And then Tori had a fucking podcast with like William Shatner where Tori talked about like getting like anally fucked or something. I'm like, what the hell is happening? And they talk about it, and I'm just like, this is like ridiculous. Like, get Tori Spelling off my, like, I didn't want to see it, but I also was kind of like living for it because I was like, okay. And then they call Patrick Muldoon, who like was some kid from the 90s who they all fucked and dated. I'm sure Lisa Rinna knows about it. And I want to see Lisa Rinna. I want to see if Lisa Rinna and Denise have like worked out their differences. I mean, they might have, I don't know. They might have, they might not, but it's just one of those things where I'm like, I don't know. So then we get more backstory on the drug addict cousin with a face tattoo. And it turns out when he was actively using, I think he was probably on heroin. Like I think sure she said opioid, but apparently he stole a bunch of Denise's Louis Vuitton handbags and sold them. And Denise is like, yeah, well, you know, I went to all the pawn shops and in all of LA and got all my shit back. But, you know, he's family. It's just stuff. And he seems to be doing well. And I'm like, someone does that to me, they're not going to come back in my life. Or if they do, it's very like guarded. You're not going to have the code to my closet. You're not going to come to my bedroom. You're going to come in and just it's very surface level. And I'm counting everything because I'm like, you don't, but I just love how she's like, well, he's family. And then you're sitting there like, what? I get more trailer park. It's more fucking trailer park. And then the first episode when we meet him, Aaron's doing that bullshit thing that straight guys do where they're like, you know, like we just stay out of the girl drama. Like we stay out of the girl drama and like, you know, we men and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, happy wife, happy life. And it's just shit like that where I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is so fucking ridiculous that I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then I just love that. He's family. And I went to all the pawn shops. And I'm like, Denise, you probably do love a pawn shop. I will say that. You do. And side note on that, pawn shops aren't bad. They aren't bad. You know, you get some good jewelry, you know, and it has some history too. That's a very Baltimore me coming and saying. But then we get to sit down with the two daughters and the cousin and some other friend, and they really start hashing it out. And then we see like the Christian freak daughter is like, she's like, well, God doesn't want me to act like this. And you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, go away. And you see that it's just, and then the cousin's trying to be peacemaker. And he also, the thing about the cousin also is now he's one of those people who's like, oh, I'm going to go pose in a rock shirtless. And, you know, I'm so zen now, even though like, I'm like, you're fucking not zen. Like how many months sober are you? Like, you know, talk to me when you get like 3 years sober, like just, and when you're actually a sponsor in the program, like just talk to me then. But like until then, like you pose on a rock shirtless with your hot twink body is like, and you know, and he's covered in which nothing against tats, but I'm just like big ass face tattoo. And I was like, okay, we see what we get into. So they have this sit down. It's a fucking Neptune's Nest on Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu, which in the Bravo history, because I know this stuff, because again, I'm a Bravo intellectual. Fucking, that's where Jax and Brittany got engaged at. I mean, you go back and watch, I think it was like the season 7 opening, and it's you get Jax and he's getting in the car with like the ring, and he's like, I got a shit. And they go there and like, you know, and it's looking over like the polluted Pacific Ocean and like, you know, a smoggy LA sky. And he's a fucking Neptune's Net, which is like a fast food like takeout joint with picnic tables overlooking the water in Malibu. So they're there, and I'm just like, you gotta be, what is up? Does Bravo have fucking stock in there? Oh, side note about Jax. I just gotta say, I'm gonna digress a little bit from Denise Richards. Side note on Jax Taylor. This week, he famously came out that he's been dealing with a cocaine addiction for the past 20 years and that he's a few months sober. You know, good for him for finding sobriety, but I'm just going to say this. if you have watched Vanderpump Rules and you are actually smart, that's not a surprise. Not a surprise. We've always known Jax is coke. We always know there's a drug subtext with Vanderpump Rules. And I'm like, yeah, I always knew you were on coke. I mean, and then I'll play it for you because fucking Sheena came on our podcast. I actually shared it on my social media on Zenobia Darling Instagram. Let me find it because I was like, this is interesting.
I mean, yes, everyone knew Jax did cocaine. That was not a secret.
Did production know?
I feel like he definitely came out of the bathroom.
Okay, let me just play what Sheena said because I think it's very telling.
I mean, yes, everyone knew Jax did cocaine. That was not a secret.
Did production know?
I feel like he definitely came out of the bathroom with white stuff on his nose every here and there, but they would have never supported or anything like that. It's just like...
He says, I think audience probably saw it.
Yes. I mean, there were things that were caught. I think at their wedding, there was a plate of Coke that was just like on the table in his hotel room. There are things that
so
I saw.
That is real. That's like a meme that has gone around.
I mean,
for
it was
years.
never like production supplying it or okay with it. I think they didn't notice. That would have never made it to air. But I mean, it has to go through, editing and so many people. But I just don't think anyone was looking at the little plate on the table.
Jax, your shirt's dry. Cup links are already connected to it.
Okay, so they're playing actually like from her wedding from Vanderpump Rules. And there definitely is Coke on the table. So it's one of those things where I'm like, thank God Sheena's talking about it and actually being that great chorus. Cause it's like, yeah, like we all knew he did Coke. We all knew that. We all straight up knew that he had it. There was always that subtext. It was what was the famous fight? I'm the number one guy in the group. Famously, we had that. So it's like, what do you think that was? What do you think they're fighting at 4 a.m? Like, yeah, like, the Coke was involved. But it's like, and the thing I want about to really hammer this home is like, when the Valley comes back, I want them to just air it out, air him out, troll him. He's a villain. It's just like, let's just fucking do it. Let's just do it. So there's my little side note on Jax and Brittany. But yeah, so getting back to Denise Richards and her Wild Things, they're fighting at Neptune's net. So it's like, it's just that whole thing. I'm like, good Lord. Like there's just so much Bravo in this. And like, so there's already so much Bravo stuff. And then the other thing I just got to comment on, the fucking Real Housewives of Beverly Hills shade. So I saw the previews of the new season of this season, and it's like it is filled with Beverly Hills cameos. So, and just shade. So we have we have Camille Grammer on there, which, and I love just fucking Denise Richards. Like, and it's just, I already talked about it, but like you have fucking Aaron throwing shade. Erica Jane makes an appearance because you remember they famously fought, like they did. You have fucking, Tori Spelling and her fucking Real House of Beverly Hills Broken Dream happening. Sutton and Jennifer Tilly make an appearance. And side note on that, I fucking love Jennifer Tilly. Like when she brought the Tiffany doll in, I was like, yes, this is everything. This is fucking everything. I love it. It's amazing. It's great. I fucking love Chucky. I love the spookiness, the ghostness of it. Jennifer Tilly's a queen. And it's like, so there's already so much Beverly. I think it's the same production company too, but like you have that, and then the thing that I don't think they would tease, but I really hope we get Lisa Rinna on there because Lisa Rinna with that famous like, oh Denise, you're so angry, like that type of shit. I fucking love it. Like it's so good. It's so good. So it's just like I'm ready for it. I'm ready. So wrapping up, guys, like my final thoughts on Denise Richards and her Wild Things. Yeah, I'm not going to watch live. I mean, I think it's definitely going to air after the new episode of Beverly Hills when I'm watching it on Peacock. So, I mean, it's 22 minutes. I'll definitely watch. I mean, I don't think it's going to be the most compelling thing. I probably won't make any more content about it, but like there's something there. I do love Denise Richards. I do. I think it's very interesting and compelling. And, we will see. I definitely want to see what happens with these daughters. I definitely want to see more Aaron. I definitely want to see this cousin. I want to see more Brooke Mueller. And again, I want Lisa Rinna there. So, I will be watching. It should be interesting. I want more OnlyFans. I want more of that shit. I want more of the dogs. And fucking with the dogs though. She's like, they piss and shit everywhere. Like shit, like I fucking love it. So with that, guys, I will end this. So I hope you enjoyed this little espresso shot on Denise Richards and Wild Things. I will be back next week with a good interview with a local Baltimore artist and Baltimore drag queen mixed behaving, Trey Crawford, it's a really good episode. We get really messy. I mean, we're two Baltimore drag queens and we're just talking, so it's good. So, and I will be back later in the month for some fun. So stay tuned. Bye, guys.